Hey everybody, we're back. 2 weeks has passed, another episode of the Social Distance Podcast. Trying to get the intro right from the start today. We don't need another repeat of last week, but it is a good show. George is back from the Dauphine, so we touch on that. We put a lot of time and a lot of investment into discussing the Milano incident, which was requested by most of the listeners to please talk about the recent Biffo. So we talk about that. I talk about a recent Biffo story that I was involved in, thankfully not caught on camera, so no one knows about it. Talk about motorbikes and races, how they're actually playing a big part in affecting the results. Jonesy turns up wearing questionable
I think I'm close to getting the arse from this show. I reckon.
Fuck no, you'll never go. You don't go in. Please don't leave us.
Please.
I just sat back and listened to the show. This was fantastic. You wanted Biff? You've got Biff. This is the Biffo episode.
Jonesy, can you go out and fight somebody this week and just bring a bit of Biffo story to next week? Just not a bike Biffo story, but just a general.
I might have to go back and play basketball again. Fire up old
exactly.
Chutney
Find old ginger nuts.
Yeah, chutney.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So yeah, plenty of Biffo in this. We do talk about the Dauphine. George's good ride yesterday in the breakaway, or 2 days ago when you listened to this, and we preview our preview of the Tour de France. So it's all go.
And two things we guarantee for the next step is merch and Pogacar to launch our merch.
Yeah, exactly. Guaranteed.
I love.
Let's just run the intro and wing it like we always do and see what comes out of it.
Let's get ready to rumble! Front kick.
Just getting bored and dance move chat.
My radar's going pretty hard at the moment. I think we should.
Will you shut up, man?
That escalated quickly.
We're going to need to get some more qualified guests on the show, eh?
2 weeks ago in the show, our last show, we spent the first 10 minutes of it absolutely fucking railing Robbie McEwen on his dress sense and what he was wearing during his TikTok videos and his commentary for the Giro. Now, for the people who aren't watching the show and listening to the show, I'm going to run through the three hosts' dress sense. George has stayed in his lane, like always. Black t-shirt, can't complain. Not good, not bad. Stayed in his lane, you know.
I mean, not
like
good.
it or don't. Well, not great. You know, not good, not bad. Just safe.
Oh.
Straight in the middle. He's an opening batsman. He's playing, you know, he's there to score 70 runs, take the shot off the new ball.
Neutral,
That's it.
mate.
Nothing fancy. Neutral.
Yeah.
All right.
Sam, myself, I'm wearing a white t-shirt, a New Zealand cricket white t-shirt that says ICC World Test Champions on the side with the New Zealand fern. Full white to get up because we're currently playing cricket against England. You know, probably wouldn't wear it out to the restaurant tonight, but it's timely. Jonesy is wearing
Yes, red flags.
what I would
a lot of red
call
flags around Jonesy.
what I would call a sleeping bag, maybe
It's called an hoodie.
with
It's fucking colder than a
Unicorns?
witch's tit here in Melbourne. Everyone keeps
It's
talking
got-
about global warming. It is fucking freezing. And I'm one of those blokes where you sort of go, geez, if I get that heater going, that is just going to burn the bills. Let's just get an hoodie on and just fight it.
But
Mate, these are great.
It's not what you're wearing. It's
It's how you're wearing
what
it.
you.
I think it's just more
how
your
you're wearing
facial
it.
expression.
Just
It's just,
proud. Just give
you know
it
what I
up.
mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
you got that
Like-
deadpan eye like about to smack somebody. You had a tough week.
Like it's not your
Yeah,
voice.
it's
It's what
full
you
on.
say.
Yeah. I've just given up. I think a lot of people, you know, with COVID, when you just rock sweatpants and you just made zero effort anymore, that's the areas I'm in at the moment. When it's
You're
this
just
cold,
bracing
it's-
yourself for
give up.
monkeypox. You're just getting
Yeah,
ahead of the
that's
curve.
right. That's right. But no, they're comfy as, mate. And I had the choices because I think there was a boom during COVID. I could choose the pink unicorns or the pizza slices. I went the
Do
unicorns.
you know what?
I stand
do you know
by
what
my
that-
choice.
Do you know what that nudie or that sleeping bag hoodie that's got unicorns on reminds me of?
What?
The supermarket in Rotorua. That's the kind of thing that you walk down aisle 11 at 4 p.m. on a Saturday arvo and there's people in the supermarket wearing
You
that.
know what's funny is the contrast in dress sense. I was talking to a guy the other day. The Milan airport and the Melbourne airport.
Oh, yeah.
Like Milan airport, everyone is trim, you know, nice jackets. It's like, you know, you're going to a wedding. And in Melbourne, you're lucky if you find people that are wearing pants. You know, like they always got the bintang, wife beater, singlets, stubby shorts. You know, there's
Fresh in
always
from Bali.
stains. There's always like someone spilt like half a pie down the front. No one cares.
3 hours ago, I was in Milan Airport. Literally 3 hours ago, I've done I had Sebastian Loeb as my taxi driver today. He was just hooking home. We made a good flight, a good way back from Barca. But like, it's the whole New Zealand, especially New Zealand woman, I've found. Oh, here we go. It's dangerous. Love, love a puffer jacket and a track pant. Like that, you know what I mean? I feel like that's now an accepted. I mean, I don't mind it, but I just feel like that's almost a dress code. It was like when I was a kid, I used to have those Umbro shorts. That for a while that was a dress code amongst like 12-year-old males in
or
New Zealand.
mango
Umbros.
Mango
mangoes.
Umbro. They were like the rugby league short though, eh?
I think they were football.
Oh.
But then CCC, but yeah, the women are just New Zealand women are just stuck. They've really held on to the puffer jacket track pant combo.
Sexy.
Anyway,
I actually saw I'm actually not. I'm good today. I'll tell you what. I've had a fucking rough few days, horrible few days.
Really?
You
Yeah.
need a nutty.
I've been. Oh, it's too over here for a nutty, bro. It's fucking 40 degrees. Yeah, I got real crook actually. I had like a little 24-hour bug. Was doing plenty of vomiting, plenty of sleeping, not enough drinking, just those sorts of things. But yeah, it's been a rough weekend. But I finally today I got out and did some exercise, which is what was really getting to me. You know, when you're crook and you literally just succumb to the bed or the couch. You know, luckily the cricket was on, but I couldn't even face. For a while, I couldn't even face a shower. I was just that fucked, just in the fetal position in bed. But then you just start to miss, like, doing some movement. You know, you just want to move. Like, not necessarily a bike ride, but even just a little walk or something. And, like, you start, like, feeling like shit, and you start fucking getting down about everything. Like, fuck, I just need to do something. So finally,
it's that voice in the head. The voice in the head that's like, mate, you're a loser. When he starts saying things like that, and it really stings.
It wasn't my fault that I got a stomach bug. It wasn't a hangover. If it was a hangover, I'd accept the voice. But like when you just catch this like
you
virus,
still get the post crook like you're milking this. You're not even crook.
Yeah. Are you that sick?
You know? Yeah. Are you that sick?
Your missus is yelling at you, get out of fucking bed. And you're like, I can't.
But you know what's shit just down a rabbit hole is I think as blokes we get a rough trot when we get sick. Like no one gives us respect because of this bullshit tag around man flu.
Yeah.
Like it all started with there was some guy probably in the 50s that was a bit soft and milked it. And then that just spread as this thing like man flu. We get fucking crook too. Where's our respect? You know? It's bullshit.
Yeah.
I reckon you're legitimately crook, Sam. Good on you.
I was legitimately crook. I woke up.
I got no sympathy for you. I got zero sympathy for you.
But today I actually got out and did a little 7K trot through the forest, so I feel much better. I'm starting to feel.
You shouldn't. Like that's nothing. Like shouldn't feel good about yourself for that.
No, 7K run, not ride.
Run.
Okay. I was going to say 7K on a bike isn't that much. Okay.
No.
Speaking of the bike, how's the Dauphine, GB? I heard you hit someone in the balls with a bottle.
Yeah, apparently. The UAE Emirates doing a bit of damage. Just reckless this week.
There was a bit of hitting going on from UAE, wasn't there? At least hitting the nuts with the bottles, all right.
Did I actually hit the guy in the nuts?
Supposedly, I don't know. I didn't see it, but we've had this photo come in.
So when you sent this photo, I didn't know that was a bottle. I thought that was like a prop, like a guy trying to be funny on the side of the road.
Oh, you think he's hanging it? You thought he was hanging a bottle out his pants?
Yeah, out his pants. Yeah,
well, he's very exposed.
But that's actually a missile that's hit him fair in the Jad's crackers, and he is not prepared. So we often talk about the visual medium on this podcast. If you're on YouTube, you're loving this, but audio, there's a guy standing with his hands on his hips, and he's not ready. And if that bottle has got any liquid in it, I mean, that guy's going down.
Oh, yeah, that was a full bottle for sure. Because you know why I know it's a full bottle? Because I just grabbed that bottle off the Soignier, and it was the wrong one. I wanted a water, and it was a mix, and you can see my up the road. So that was a full bottle of mix. And I was angry as well, so I launched it.
I saw you throw those bottles. I was watching the stage with Hannah, and we saw you in the breakaway. So I watched it with a little bit more interest than what I've been watching the last few days. And I was like, "Oh, George could be up here. The time gap's pretty small, but you never know. He's a good climber on his day." And when you guys started the last climb, and about 300 meters into the last climb, you just biffed 2 bottles. I said to Hannah, "No, he's not up here. He's hurting."
He's angry.
And then Hannah was like, "Maybe he's feeling good. He's about to attack." I was like, "Didn't think about that. Could be." So sorry for the lack of faith. But you were the last man standing. You were the last man standing from the break yesterday. So you had a good
I actually was on a day yesterday. I was actually on a good day. But what happened was we hit the last climb, and I've been thinking about this afterwards. I was like trying to rationalize what happened on the bottom of the last climb. So it was an 11K climb. We had a 1 minute gap. Your death sentence. But I was still feeling pretty good. So I raced with the intention of maybe making it in front of the selection, hanging on, maybe still can have a stage result. But we hit the bottom of the climb, and the rest of the blokes I was with, they just fucking took off. They just launched. Like the climb was 1K long. They just started sprinting. And I was looking down. I was like, oh, maybe my power meter's wrong or something. But I was like, I can maybe do this for 2-3 minutes. So I just start running my pace. And then sure enough, there's the 4 guys that are up the road in front of me that have just sort of attacked me at the bottom of this 11K climb. Just one of them at a time just stop pedaling, swing over to the side of the road. Then the next guy just stop in the middle of the road, come back. Last guy just stop, come back. And what I was trying to think, like, what were they, what was going on there? What was the logic? And then it occurred to me, like, this could be the whole, how there's the most aggressive? Like everyone's like, just accepted, like, oh, we're going to get caught here. Let's try and get either the TV attack or the most aggressive number. So everyone just went all in, completely killed themselves. And then actually, if we all rode a good tempo, worked together, we probably could have gone pretty far up that hill. Could have gone to 3 or 4.
But isn't the most aggressive award the award that nobody wants to win unless you're French in France? Because it's like you got to stay, you got to go to the podium, you got to fucking hang
That was actually my
around
biggest fear.
for nothing.
I was going up the road, and when I caught the last guy, I was like, I knew we had a huge transfer to Milan. I knew at the top of a hill, no reason to stay any longer at this race. And I was thinking, fuck, should I put the brakes on here? Because what if they give me most aggressive? Especially after I launched a bidding at someone's nuts. I mean,
Yeah.
It's like when you're leading Team GC. We had at the Giro in 2018. We were leading Team GC. We were winning. I don't even know if we were leading Team GC, but we were winning Team GC on that day, or I don't know. Like the most.
Yeah, because we won that year. Oh no, we
just
didn't.
some
We won
award-
fair play.
Just some award that like actually means nothing on like maybe you're leading Team GC, but it's still fucking 2 weeks to go. But you still got to go and send 5 guys to the podium every day, and it's like we're leading the Giro at the same time. We just want to get on the bus and get out of there.
Yeah,
Tomorrow we've got a big day, and we're going to hang around, and it's like fucking 8 guys in the bus, paper, scissors, and rock for who the 5 are that are going to go to the podium that day. No one wants to be going.
We just made it the last. We were always doing when we had Teams GC because we had it always in the tour and stuff. So the next day, 3 guys had to go, and we'd just make it last to the bus, like last in. They have to go do it, but it was shit because it was always the same 3 guys that would they'd pull all day, probably do more work than everybody. They had to ride an hour longer.
The best story of the most aggressive ride was 2015 when there was that massive crash at the tour. And then Bling come in and he said, oh, I've broken a rib. And they said, oh, no, we'll scan it. We'll do the protocol. They scanned it and they said, you haven't broken ribs, mate. It's like there might be a hairline sort of fracture, but it all looks good. You're going to be right to ride. He does the presser the next day and the media's like, oh, how was it? He goes, yeah, I broke a rib. Broke a couple, actually. And then he got through the stage and they're like, he's finished the stage with 2 broken ribs. We've got to give him the award. So he's up on stage grimacing, getting the award. It was all because he said to the media at the start he cracked a couple of ribs and got through it. So you can definitely milk it. But
the most aggressive you could argue should have gone to
Sebastian Milano.
But do you know what? I've actually been a bit pissed off about this whole thing because Seb's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. Actually, he's actually such a nice guy. And I didn't if people that didn't know what happened, there was a bit of a dust up during the race on stage 5, 6, something like that. But and what annoyed me about it, okay, of course you shouldn't hit somebody. Of course it's the wrong thing to do. Everyone knows that. That's not what we're going. That's not up for argument. Like, whatever violence, aggression, whatever the hell you want to say, is not. We know it's not the right thing to do, but what
Sometimes it's the only option, eh?
Yeah.
Some-
Now, what's cracking me about this is how quick everyone is to judge. You know what I mean? Because everyone's seen one aspect of this. Everyone's just seen Seb riding up to this guy and giving him a dot on the helmet and
Make
gone.
handshake.
Yeah, and everyone's gone. All the sort of holier than thou, judgmental. Especially on like social media, Twitter. This is no place for this in our sport. This is not correct. No. Like, these guys need to put it in a bit of context. They have no idea what happened before that. They have no idea. And in the situation that happened in that race, you pretty much had to be fucking Gandhi not to smack the guy in the helmet. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying
that's the thing. Is like there's only one bit of the whole incident on camera. That was the unfortunate thing for Milano.
And of course, I'm not saying you should have done
things.
it. I'm not saying it was the right thing to do. Of course, whatever. But like, you have to put this stuff in context, and also you have to think, what would you do in that situation? Everyone's so like the amount of people that have come out and gone, this is not good enough. This is a shame. Or man, put yourself in that situation of what happened in the race, and tell me you wouldn't do the same thing. I mean, I'd like to say, yeah, I wouldn't do that, but I don't know because it didn't happen to me. Nobody knows. People on Twitter that are going, oh, I wouldn't do that in that situation. You have no idea if you do that or not because it didn't happen to you. Because you see what happened in the race, there's a very good chance you also did the same thing. So it's like, of course it's wrong. Of course it's not the right reaction. But let's not get so high and mighty.
But is it the wrong reaction? Depends what happened. Like honestly, like if somebody, I had an incident recently, Tour of Romandy. I won't name any names because we've since patched it up. But I had an incident where it was a very stressful part of the race. It's one of the stages of Tour of Romandy. We had a side of the road. Well, actually, a team had a team. This particular team had the side of the road. So in these situations, when you're racing for a crucial point, so it was about 60k an hour, 2-lane road, racing for a very, very tight left-hander, which went into a fast downhill, steep climb, was a very, very decisive part of the race. So you want to be at the front. The road was effectively blocked by teams who had a portion of the road each. From the left-hand side of the road right the way across the right-hand side of the road was completely blocked. We were a team behind the team on the left-hand gutter. At a certain moment, that team moved hard right, went quite far right across the centre line effectively, opened up the space. I took the space. This team then, one of the riders decided, we don't want you to be there. Well, mate, you opened the door, I went through it. At that point, you've lost your part of the road, you know?
Yeah, you can't open the door.
You had a piece of road protected. That was your piece of road. I'm not going to try to come on the grass or push through you guys because I am accepting you guys own that piece of road at this point in time. The moment you move and create space and open the door, that piece of road is free, is for lease again, you know? And boom, I got there before you. You've now lost that piece of road. So your only option is that your only option at that point now is to ride next to me. That's your options. There's no other option. But this particular person decided that his other option, that according to him was all fair play, was just to basically crash me. And at 60 kilometers an hour, at 60k an hour, turned left straight onto me. I was leaning on him, completely leaning on him to just hold my bike up. Keeping in mind that I've got my team plus maybe 140 other bike riders sitting behind me at 60 kilometers an hour. So I'm just leaning on him, trying to stay upright, keep my front wheel out of the grass. At this point, I smack him as hard as I fucking can in the stomach.
I would have thought you would have taken as, that's not the conduct, jolly old chap.
Yeah.
And then what happened? Do you know what happens now? At 60k an hour, with 140 bike riders behind me, he takes his hands off the handlebars and grabs my handlebar.
Bullshit.
He grabs my handlebar. Okay, now,
Bullshit.
Now anyone out there,
anybody
out there who listens to the show, anyone out there who listens to the show who says that me reacting and wanting to fucking smash him is wrong, then mate, Go and listen to the Greenpeace podcast.
You know what this
something.
story
Because
reminds me of?
doing that.
Go listen to the Greenpeace podcast. It's one of the calls of the year.
Because in my eyes, that is potential. That's
very
It's
like-
attempted
serious.
murder.
That's
It
attempted
is.
murder, bodily harm, anything, mate. Like if he had to crash me at that point, then I would have been seriously injured. You know.
Mate, you
So,
probably wouldn't have walked away
if-
from that.
If a
60
car
Ks
does
to
it-
go. We're going to take live pictures now from Tour of Robert. Oh, Sam Bewley's kicked things off with an aggressive move. What an asshole.
luckily, like I did hit him in the chest, and luckily none of it was caught on camera, so no one knows about it, which is great.
But if it was,
Um,
you would have been crucified. Imagine all they got is
Thank
you.
God no
punching
one
somebody.
knows about this incident.
This is where Bewley's made that career choice where he goes, you know what? Fuck, I love doing podcasts. You know, the priorities now. I'm all for the viewers. I'm all for the listeners. I'm all chips in, guys. You love the Biff stories. This is Unfiltered Sam Bewley. I love it, mate. Welcome back.
Yeah.
But like,
Welcome back.
here's the thing, right? If that was on camera and it was just you hitting the guy,
Yeah.
that's a perfect example of
Yeah.
you, Sam
I would have
Bewley,
been disqualified.
everybody packing on judging, and you having to issue some horrific. My
Oh,
actions
I
were
wouldn't have
wrong.
done it. I wouldn't have done it. If that was caught on camera and I was disqualified and crucified for my retaliation, and I was forced by anybody to make a public apology, I would refuse to do it. I reckon. I reckon
What
I'd
was
say,
the reaction to the
no.
hit to the ribs? Did everyone, the 140
Well,
riders
then
who
at
saw
that
would
point,
have been like,
his-
ooh, Bewls is
well, then
upsy
his
here.
teammates basically said, like, my teammates yelled at me like, "Oh yeah, easy Sam," because they didn't want to kick off him for them to
Don't do
go
it,
fly
Sam.
over the top of me.
Please,
and then-
Sam, calm down.
And then his teammates did the same thing. And thankfully, it was such a crucial moment, and we're only like 1 or 2 kilometers away from this crucial moment that we both kind of refocused and recalibrated, like for this moment anyway. Like, I've got to get my team into this corner first. So I did my job.
Mm.
But then it was only 10K to go on the stage. So by the time I got to the finish line, 13 or 14 minutes later, mate, I was still fucking fuming, you know? And I said to one of my teammates, I'm going, mate. I'm going to this bus, and like, this is inexcusable. You know, I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but we'll find out when I get over there.
We'll find out. Yeah.
And
Find out when I get there.
thankfully, he talked me out of it.
Sit on my wheel.
And yeah, he talked me out of it. And then I was fucking fuming for hours, because like I literally looked at it as to the point of this guy could have killed me or could have ended my career.
People at home don't realize what a hand on the handlebar is. Like, that doesn't sound that bad. If anything touches your handlebars, like it's like 90% chance you're going to crash. Like the fact that, like, do you remember that story at Tour of Southland where I think it was maybe Carl Murray and Matt Yates or something, and one of them just rode up and grabbed the other guy's handlebars and just pulled it, and just
Oh, that was that was Richard Barker and Matt Yates at the National Criterium Championships in Newmarket in Auckland.
or maybe Matt Yates is
Yeah.
a repeat offender. Maybe it's his favorite move.
No, Matt Yates was the one who got biffoed, but Richard Barker grabbed by the handlebars.
Oh, maybe that's where he got the
went off
idea
ground
from and then did
threw
it
him
to
into the
someone else.
barriers.
Well, if you want to tune in for more Biffo on social distance, you got it, folks.
Should we get Matt Yates on the show, and just so he can tell us all the stories about him crashing juniors on like the Auckland Bunch Ride? And
Yeah,
The
he had a
time-
crack
what
at me-
about-
he had a crack at me once when I was a B grader.
really,
Yeah, I was getting
What-
a bit lucky
what-
on those online forums.
on
was like
board.
15. Yeah,
What would you have done, Bills, if you got to the bus? Like, if you didn't get talked out of it, you reckon you just would have completely lost it, or what?
I wouldn't have hit him. I do really believe I wouldn't have hit him. It would have been a big verbal attack. I don't reckon I would have hit him.
when
It
you
was
get
too
that
late at that
steamy-
point. Like, I cooled down enough. Like, to hit someone takes, like, I've hit some people in my time, but to hit someone, it has to be like really like either heat of the moment. There's pretty much, I only really hit someone if I know that it's the best thing to do. Like, if I don't hit them, they're going to hit me. So I'm going to get in first, basically. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's never the right response, is it? It's never the
I
it's
know,
never
but
the
it's fun
right thing to do.
sometimes.
But if you got a handful of
That's-
coins too, like
Yeah. I think sometimes it is the right thing to do if it's necessary. Like if it's defense mechanism, like if you're in a pub or something and all of a sudden some dude's bailed you up and you're like, if I don't fucking hit this guy right now, he's going to hit me and I'm going to go down. Then maybe you hit him, you know? But like,
It'll be hit kind of thing.
yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway,
I just
I
know
wouldn't
as a
have hit this
survival
guy.
mechanism. For
But
me personally,
let me just close off. Let me just finish.
Yeah.
this
Oh, yeah, we need to
quickly,
close this.
my
Sorry.
story.
We need to close it for
Um,
sure.
I wouldn't have hit him because that moment had passed. I was still angry, but I would have just been a verbal attack. Secondly, I do like the guy, like, and I continue to like him, and I liked him up until this point. But it was an unnecessary move by him.
It tests
And
relationship a little bit.
Yeah, do you
oh,
think
yeah.
you'll get over
Ooh.
this? You think you'll be able to?
yeah, I
patch
sort
things
of have. I sort of have got over it.
How'd you
I
patch
just
it up?
thought he messaged me. He messaged me that evening. He got my
He said,
phone
"Watch
number.
your back tomorrow. I'm fucking coming
Yeah.
for you."
He sent me a message and he
Let's
said,
finish this
I'll read
on
the
the road."
exact message. I'll read the message out. I won't tell you who it's from.
The secret pro.
Yeah, he said,
Do you remember that whenever I was
Mate.
trying to figure out who the secret pro is? Because the
Henny.
secret pro would change. It would change
yeah.
every week, and there'd be
Yeah.
one guy would just rip into a team and be like, "Oh, it must be that guy." And they're trying to put together race calendars, but he was at that race, but not at that race. And then there was one secret pro article, which like we all thought it was this New Zealand guy, and he just went to town on like Ineos and accused everyone of cheating. And we're like, "Oh, it's got to be this guy."
Yeah.
Sorry, Bills. What's the
Sorry,
message?
Sam.
no, he messaged me and said, "Hey mate, I'm such and such," his name. "So sorry for today. I really don't know what happened in my head, but I'm so sorry. I owe you a beer." And I replied, I like Alhambra and I like them fucking cold. And I said,
So he's given the brand and the temperature. This is how blokes sort out Biff. They always offer beer. Like as soon as you pass the hand and go, "I'll give you a beer," it's like it solves everything. I almost killed you, but a cold Alhambra.
But I want to know Humber
And
from the
I-
back of the fridge.
I replied to him and said, I appreciate the message. It's happened. It's in the past now. We'll move on. And then at the airport on Sunday night, he bought me a beer and we're all good.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
a great resolution to a story, actually.
It is.
Like, and that won't, you know what I mean? That won't linger. I mean, maybe.
No,
you grab the
it's
handlebars
fun.
again.
It's fun.
Exactly.
he's giving you
But
he's
what a
giving you great podcast content. I think chapeau.
Yeah.
No
But-
one got binned.
I think the moral of, or the takeaway from all this is that
I can't wait to
And
see
what
the
I was
listeners
trying to-
trying to guess who it was. No?
Oh, they'll be
There's
scanning the
been
vision.
names been fired at our show.
but like the thing is, it's like the whole point of this whole roundabout like spiel about it is like how quickly people were to judge, to go,
Yes.
what a scumbag for doing this, what a piece of shit for doing this, and you just think like you got no idea why someone did that. So
Yeah.
pull your head in.
Yeah, I think the moral of the story is that I'm joking when I say that sometimes it's the only option to hit someone. It's not. Let's be honest. It's never the right. It's never the right
You've calmed down.
resolution. You know, violence and hitting someone is not the right thing to do. There's always other ways to solve things. But at the same time, what we're trying to say is that you need to understand the context of a situation before
Yeah.
you judge somebody for one action that you saw out of a number of actions. So
My
that's our
teammate
take
summed
on-
it up really well.
Not at all.
He said to me, because he saw the whole thing and then he saw the reaction, and he goes, you know, you don't just punch someone in the head for no reason. You know,
No.
like, and I was like, oh, that's a good point. Like that, you don't get a reaction like that for no reason. But unless you see the first incident or the first two incidents, then that's enough for people to make up their mind. But yeah, you don't normally just get punched in the head for doing nothing, for riding along in a straight line.
No.
I mean,
No.
it happened to me once when I was racing in amateurs. Someone pulled my helmet over my eyes, but to be honest, I probably deserved it.
Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah, for sure. And I saw other vision. He went up to the bus. He didn't have the same result as Bewley. He got to the bus, and I think he slapped him again. So you don't do that if you're not pissed off.
No.
So
No.
But
Anyway,
like, there's definitely context of situations, and it's always difficult to judge a situation based on a small piece of information that you get. In reality, should you hit someone? Probably not. Do they sometimes deserve
Also,
it?
a lot of other
Absolutely.
things to unpack from Dauphine. One thing that was pissing me right off was, and this is maybe a conspiracy theory, but if the breakaway had enough French riders in it, I feel like for every French rider in the breakaway, they got an extra motorbike and an extra car in front of them.
Oh. Man, the
Mate,
motorbikes.
we were pulling so fucking hard. Ghana, okay, for people that know watts, Ghana normalized for the last 32 minutes of the stage 471 watts, which I can't even do for like 3 minutes. It's outrageous, right? And the breakaway took time. We were just going like, this is not possible. Durbo, like all these guys, like the biggest engines, just doing absolute death pulls. And they just come back one by one. You just see them pulling, and then they'll just explode. Stop pedaling, they'll be out the ass. Another guy, everyone's sending teams. But there was like 4 or 5 French guys in the break, and then you see the photos that were going in the CPA group. Everyone going, what the hell is this? Like, just cars, like a traffic jam in front of them, this wall of cars, and they were just going so fast. And then like, I was like, oh, don't say too much, because one day you'll be in the break and you'll benefit from it. Anyway, get in the break on the last day, and I'm looking around and going, there's not enough Frenchies here. So like when we got down to like 4 or 5 guys to the top of the Columbia on the last stage, I said to Alison, I was like, mate, I'm happy you're here. Otherwise we'd have, they'd be, they wouldn't have a TV camera in front of us, like we just need a one Frenchie there a little bit just to get a little bit more draft. But it was actually out of control. Like it made the Dauphine so hard.
I was talking to one of our mates who's just finished a Giro, and like I think it's pretty blanket now. I don't think it's anything to do with which country you're in. I think it's just like it's actually. I reckon it potentially is the issue or the most the issue that needs to be focused on the most by the UCI almost in terms of what is dictating race results, and to a certain point safety. It's like I don't think anybody understands the bearing that motorbikes have on bike races until you've been in a bike race. Like even in the peloton, like the day that I messaged you about it, George, and said, "Fuck, man, the motorbikes were just ridiculous today." Was that day you're talking about, where the French guys were in the breakaway and the breakaway stayed away, or you just caught them? I think right in the
no, I think we caught them the next day. The exact same thing happened, and I actually went to the guys and I was like, "Right, we need to pull. We have, we were sprinting, wanted to sprint from Milano." And I went to Ineos and I was like, guys, do you want to put on with me? And Garner just took his glasses off, turned to me and stared at me and goes, "You trying to fucking kill me or what? I never do this again." So he was just so deflated from the first day that he's just like.
But like he also had like when I messaged you about it, I was more in referring to the motorbike that Garner had in front of him coming off the downhill. So you did that last climb, and when Ineos started to ride full gas, and they obviously trying to catch the breakaway 1 and 2, get rid of Groenewegen, who's the only sprinter there. So there's a 2.5K climb. They get rid of Dylan, 20 seconds at the top, and then they're trying to catch the breakaway. But out of the corners, Gunnar was literally just sitting like it wasn't his fault, but because the motorbikes can't go fast enough.
It's not the rider's fault. It's never the rider's fault.
It's not the rider's fault. No, we all do it if we can do it.
Oh, if there's a motorbike there, you would be an idiot not to do it.
Yeah, he's chasing the motorbike out of corners, gaining this like 5K an hour so much quickly than what the group behind, like with our guys, are doing, who are trying to bring Groenewegen back. You're losing seconds out of every single corner, and then the breakaway's got even more motorbikes. So Gunner's got an option, has to do the same thing to catch the breakaway. Like it's actually like the bearing it has on the race is so ridiculous these days. Sometimes in Grand Tours especially, you'll be riding like midway back in the peloton, and there's a team pulling on the front, and for half the stage you'll be thinking to yourself, this is fucking ridiculous. How is this possible? How is this possible that 1 or 2 people, 2 bike riders, in the same sport as me and pulling this hard on the front? Like I'm on the limit. I'm doing 500 watts in the wheels. Exactly. And you're actually doing 150 watts more when you're sitting behind 100 bike riders than what these guys are doing when sitting behind motorbikes. And it's not their fault, but it's just the nature of terrain, the nature of broadcasters wanting to get certain footage. Is just having such an impact on the way races are.
Maybe it's just getting worse because there's more people. The person who got the flick the most was like actually your team, because they were all sitting back for Dylan, but then there wasn't, so like the breakaway had the front people, the front of the peloton had the motorbikes, but Group Groenewegen just had like Edmo and Durbo,
Yeah,
like
exactly. Yeah.
And actually, I felt like the whole race, everyone was just trying to flick Mitchelton, just trying to drop Dylan, but not really worrying about catching the guys in front. They're like, oh, just go hard, drop Dylan. So everyone was so focused on that. It even became a bit of a joke. Like on the Saturday stage, suddenly at one moment, Wick started pulling, and then one of the boys came up to me and goes, "Oh, why are they pulling?" And I was like, "Oh, Groenewegen's dropped."
Like like at the end of the day, Dylan was the only pure sprinter there, and he wasn't guaranteed to win if he was there, but he was, he's a good shot at winning a stage or two if they had been bunch sprints. So like what the other teams were doing, what Jumbo was doing, what Ineos were doing, what Unowix were doing, is a completely fair and a completely logical tactic. It's a good tactic. Like we've got fast guys. We got Ethan Hayter. We've got Wolf van Aert. They're fast guys. Are they faster than Dylan? Maybe not. What can we do? There's a little climb with 20k to go. Let's get rid of Dylan. Great tactic. Why wouldn't you? But the first stage was Dylan got really fucked, man. Like there was 35k to go or 40k to go that last climb, so plenty of time to come back. It was still he lost quite a bit of time on the climb, so it was always going to be a difficult chase, but it was a possible chase, especially given the fact that the climb was long enough that it got rid of quite a few guys. So Bauhaus had guys with him, Milano had guys with him, Dylan had guys with him. They actually had a pretty decent bunch, and they got really close. But what fucked them was that even when it was at a minute 20 or something, a minute 30, bearing in mind it came down to about 30 seconds with 7k to go, or 10k to go, they never ever let the convoy through. They never let the cars through. And so the peloton actually had like 100 bike riders in it. So all the favourites for the Dauphine actually did 35k without a team car behind them. But then if those cars had been let through, Dylan and stuff would have got back easy, because then you actually don't need to close a minute and a half. Like you actually only need to close it to the last car in the convoy, which is, the convoy's a minute long itself. But they couldn't get the cars past because it was a tricky downhill. And then by that point, it was like, now it's only 45 seconds. We can't really let the cars in the middle here. At the same time, and then at the same time, like you guys in the peloton are just doing it easy behind 40 or 50 motorbikes. Bullshit.
Geez, Jumbo look like they're going all right, George. That's my input for Dauphine, boys.
Yeah, fuck the Dauphine. What are you been up to, James?
Yeah. James, tell me about your life.
They're going all right. Roglic, Vinegar. They're going all right.
Oh, shut up.
Shut up. Fucking sorry, boys. Can't fucking contribute. Jeez, might put my uni back on.
Tell me something. What's happening in your life?
Just editing, getting that funny Western United doco. Oh, I'm gearing up for the tour. Yeah, I'm heading off in 2 weeks. So
are you?
Oh, that's good. Sweet.
Yeah, I need George to be like my my media manager. I need quality.
We've got 2 media managers. Shall I palm one off to you?
No, you just deal directly with me, bro. I go directly to the riders. It's a one-stop shop. But I heard that there's not going to be any restrictions at the buses and that this year. You know how they normally.
It's given me intense COVID paranoia, because I still haven't had COVID. Everyone else has had COVID, but I haven't had it. And we had a man go down at Dauphine sick, not with COVID.
Yeah.
But he was sitting there with a fever going, I've got a fever and stuff. And I'm just going like, just panicking. Because you get COVID now, that's tour over, I think. But then, there's this far greater fan access. And I had the, so it's back, and which is great. And I actually love it. I realize, you realize how much you miss the atmosphere and stuff. But I had this, the classic fan stitch up at the Dauphiné, where this fan
got hit in the balls.
Obviously, it was old bloke who, and we all know the kind that love cycling. They come with the autograph cards, everything like that. And I've been there like trying to be a nice guy outside the bus. Here, sign this, sign. But then I straight away go in and I'm washing my hands, disinfecting them. I've got classic OCD now, but this guy came and he's like, "Oh, I've got a present for you. I'll bring it to your hotel tonight." And I was going like, "Sure, great." It's
At about 11 p.m. What room are you?
yeah. But then I was like, there's no way this guy can get into my hotel. So, just be like, "Oh, thanks, mate. Yeah, great. See you tonight." Left. Anyway, get into my hotel. This guy's in there. And I'm fuck, he got in. Okay. He's just sitting in the lobby with this cardboard tube. I'm going, "Oh, yeah, what's this?" And he just brings out this massive, massive poster of me. Glossy. It would have cost a lot to make, and it was just this terrible photo of me dribbling up in this time trial, just looking horrific, like from years ago. I don't know what race it was, maybe Dauphine 5-6 years ago. And he's like, "Oh, I've got you this present." And I was like, "Oh,
What am I going to do with
Was
that?
he a Frenchie?
yeah, French guy." And he didn't speak English, so I'm trying to speak French with him. And I was like, "Ah, thanks." And he's like, "Yeah, so,
Oh, jersey?
can I have a jersey?" And I'm looking at this thing going like, the last thing I fucking want is a photo of a horrible picture of myself. Like, what do you think people do with those? Hang up pictures of themselves around their house.
Yeah.
Like,
you give it as a present. That'd be great. Like Mother's Day or
oh God, my parents will want nothing less than a fucking photo of me dribbling on their wall.
put it in the bathroom.
I
Like,
I had they always, the Belgian fans do it the same. They're like, "Oh, I'll bring you a present for a jersey," and they'll bring you like a 6-pack of Leffe Blondes or something.
give
like,
at least give me a 6-pack of Leffe Blondes for a jersey any day, not a fucking
Yeah.
poster of myself. Like, what am I gonna do with that? Like, at least, like, I always get, the guy that brings the big bottle of Le Chouffe and you give him a jersey at the end of every year and you get the big. I've done that every year. I've done that 6 years in a row. Troy Lombardi, go there. I know he's there. I know he's going to be there, and he knows that I'll take a bottle of Le Chouffe. And at the end of the year, I give him a jersey and I smash a bottle of Le Chouffe as I'm going back to the hotel. Like, it's great. But fucking poster
Actually,
of
speaking
myself?
of jerseys, like, and giving them away, because like a bottle of like Le Chouffe's going to cost you a few euro, sting you a few euro down at Crafty Beer here on the corner. So like,
7.
ultimately, like, the guy with the jersey is still coming out on top. But what I'm getting at is that we actually still owe a couple of people a few jerseys, from about 6 months ago.
Oh,
You never
shit.
sent me the names.
Oh no. You serious?
I've got the names. And I have had some communication with them and acknowledged our
terrible.
slackness. I have had some acknowledge.
This podcast is going to be on one of those like current affair shows tonight.
Talking about the
podcast,
the
fraud.
Fire Festival?
Yeah,
The Fire Festival documentary. This will be it. It'll be like, remember that trip to the Maldives? There'll just be one guy showing up and be like, I got there. There was no hotel. The fucking
cost me
Right,
20
well,
grand.
yeah.
Tomorrow, George, you're leaving town tomorrow, I think. Before you leave, I'll get a jersey or two of you.
Yeah.
And I'll post them tomorrow afternoon. I have had communication with them, acknowledged. The truth is that we didn't cross. You and I have barely crossed paths this year, which is a poor excuse, but it's an excuse nonetheless.
But our merch is just about ready to launch, isn't it? No, this is legit. We've seen samples.
We've seen samples. The samples have been made, Jonesy,
doesn't it?
Yeah. I think I got photos. Can I show photos?
No.
No.
You can't just show photos.
No way. We're doing the release. We're going to do the release like properly
Next week.
But they'll be there for the tour anyway.
Yeah.
No, we'll do
I'm
like a
taking
photo
that.
shoot.
Another
We're
story.
gonna do like a photo shoot.
Speaking of fans and merch and people that watch the show, remember how you said this at you're at tour of Romandy and there was a time trial and a guy was talking to you about the photographer from New Zealand was talking about he watches the show and something or other, I don't know. I can't remember the story. Anyway, this bloke was at Dauphine, right? And I was like, I'll come to the bus. Started yarning with him. And this is classic New Zealand, right? So I'm like, because every time I meet someone from New Zealand, first thing, where are you from? Oh, I'm from this place. Oh, and then in New Zealand, every New Zealander goes, oh, do you know this bloke? Because everyone knows someone in every town, right? So he's like, oh, where are you from? He's like, oh, Nelson. It's like, oh, fuck, I'm from Nelson. He's like, yeah. I went to your school. And I was like, oh, fuck. And he's like, yeah, your dad taught me. My dad taught him karate or something.
Shit.
Really?
I know. Yeah, really. My dad taught that guy karate.
There you go.
He took a photo of you, tagged it. And
Visuals of Harry. is the name
Yeah.
on Instagram. Check him out. Good photos.
Check him out. I shared it on the thing.
Hey, do you want me to bring you over anything from Australia, George? Remember one year I had to go to Vuelta, I had to bring 4 packs of Daryl Lee bullets for Esteban. I'll sanitize my hands.
What are they?
Work. You know those chocolate bullets that you get, the Daryl Lee, the licorice ones. They were coated in chocolate, but they're licorice. You don't have
Fuck, never
bullets
heard
in
of
New
those.
Zealand. No
Well,
bullets?
bullets.
Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, in Australia, we've got them. They're just little licorice lollies.
I don't miss a lot from home. The only thing that I would love in my day-to-day life is a crumpet, but they don't travel well.
I got crumpets. I got crumpets here if you want.
What? Where from?
How did you get crumpets?
I bring them back from the UK all the time.
Oh, you went to the UK like a month ago. I'm not eating those crumpets.
Nah. I went to the UK 2 weeks. Yeah, roughly a month.
I'm still
3
not
weeks,
eating those
maybe.
crumpets.
Well, do you want a fucking crumpet or not? How desperate are
Well,
you for a crumpet? Clearly not that
Can't you-
desperate.
Can't you
They've been in
get
the
crumpets
freezer,
at
mate.
that cafe in
Oh.
Girona? They got crumpets there.
No,
Vegemite.
don't have crumpets here. No, don't have crumpets here.
Well,
I don't
nothing,
miss
right?
them.
Don't want anything.
Culinarily wise, I mean, I don't miss a lot, not of stuff that I don't have, I get my peanut butter sent from a company in NZ and then I'm pretty much sorted.
All right, here's a question. So I'm going to do like a Ride of the Day award for SBS. I stick a badge on their jersey if they win it. It's just like, it looks like the one off You, Me and Dupree, like the best man badge. But I'm thinking I'll get a trinket to go with it. I'm thinking, what would a rider want as a trinket, like as a keepsake?
Just
I'm
crumpet, just a fresh
Right.
crumpet.
I'm thinking like, how they've got the yellow lion. I could get some plush, kangaroos or something. But then, as a rider, you go, do you want that or do you want something better?
No, I'd like a little kangaroo. I mean,
I reckon the kangaroo would be cool.
Kangaroo.
I reckon the kangaroo would be widely received by the European community of bike riders.
You know what they would also like is I was trying to explain to my teammates what a boomerang was because one of my teammates, I was like, "Oh, today you did a great boomerang," and he's like, "What's a boomerang?" I was like, "You win in the breakaway and then came straight back."
I've got a selection of different stuff, different prize every day.
Yeah, a little boomerang, and then they were fascinated by a
Right.
boomerang. The fact that you can
Okay.
throw a stick and it risks your life by it coming back at you.
I'll get an assortment of Aussie trinkets, and then every
Couple
day
of-
you don't know what you're going to get. Could be a
couple of
boomerang,
social
could be-
distance podcast caps.
Yep.
Yep.
Merch.
What's the
Sure.
criteria for
Couple
ride of the day? I mean, give me some.
They vote on
some
Twitter.
people.
So say you could have got Ride of the Day for not burning your gaskets at the bottom of the climb, holding on, and then, okay, you didn't win the stage, but it's what the Couch Peloton view at home is. That's the Ride of the Day. And they vote.
I've got an
and it's a
idea.
Twitter poll. What is it?
I've got an idea that we do three for the podcast.
Yeah.
3 giveaways at the tour. Into the first week, into the second week, into the third week. 1 a week.
Perfect.
And
I'll present it.
My mum was a school teacher, and they used to do like once every term, like in their like staff faculty parties at the end of every term, someone would get given like a chicken, like those rubber chickens
Yeah,
for
yeah.
someone who did something stupid throughout the term, like, oh, you did the silliest thing or
That's
whatever,
good. Yeah.
So we could do one. Remember on this podcast about a month ago or 3 or 4 shows ago, George said this classic line that said, "Good bike rider, shit bloke." What we could do is we'd get a couple of
Who are we
t-shirts
talking
that say Moscon. We could get a couple of t-shirts.
I didn't say that. What are you talking about?
So, but you weren't saying it about Moscon. You were talking about the commentator who character assassinated
Oh
Moscon.
yeah.
So we
Oh
weren't
yeah,
actually,
yeah.
we weren't saying
This
it
is what
about
Carlson
Moscon.
Kirby was saying about.
The
Carlson
commentator
Kirby
was
saying about
character
Moscon.
assassinating Moscon, and then
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
if you're a commentator, it's like
yeah.
saying good bike rider, shit bloke.
Yeah.
So what we could do is we could get good bike rider, shit bloke, put on a t-shirt, and then we could give it to like somebody who's done something stupid throughout the tour. And
Yeah,
like,
I
yeah,
like
it's a
it.
great
Great idea.
obviously, it'd be a humorous thing. Like we wouldn't
Yeah,
think
good
clearly we
rider,
wouldn't think
shit
they were a
bloke.
shit bloke. Yeah, like wouldn't think they were a shit bloke. We'd be like, you did the shit bloke thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
I like that.
I'll do that. And one thing I'll dial up for the social distance potty is I'll get on and use social handles. Remember when I was stuck here in Australia that year and I was on the red wines and just tweeting stuff at 2 a.m.
You're
with
just down a
photos and,
fucking wormhole.
oh mate. And people are going,
That was a tough
geez.
year, eh? I mean, people
Jones-
took COVID. People took COVID in different ways, but I feel
It
like
was
you
bad.
two in particular,
It was
both were
bad.
big sufferers. I feel like I sailed through it. I had a good crew,
And
stable
we were bad.
relationship,
It was grim.
and you two just you took it
We
badly.
Mate, there was nights where I'd be WhatsApping Bewley talking on the phone and I'd fall asleep. And then 10 Ks later, I'd hear Bills going, yeah, fuck, I don't know what he's doing. He needs to go now. And I'd be like, oh, I'm awake again. He was talking
Jules
the
was
whole
just making-
time.
Jules
It
was making
talking to
cooking
himself.
videos.
It was
Yeah,
the horrible
cool.
conception of this show, though. It was a one night stand that's gone wrong, but produced.
We
this
drove
little
through
nugget of a
50
show.
Ks of fog, man. 50 Ks of fog to come out the other side. We're back. And now all we've got is good rider shit bloke. Yes.
But what
T-shirts
one thing
that we're
I've
going to
you've
hand
just
out at the Tour de France.
We're back.
one thing you just reminded me of though, Bills, when we were talking about the commentators character assassinating somebody, is you mentioned before the show there was something about is there a bit of beef between American commentators and GCN commentators at the moment?
I don't know, but I just saw a tweet yesterday from somebody. Like we had Robbie on the other week, and all of us are big fans of the GCN commentary team. But as you just like podcasts, you can't appease everyone. Some people listen to our show and fucking hate it. I'm sure most probably. And so some people don't like the GCN commentary. And Chris Horner, who we've both raced with, he's got this YouTube show called Butterfly Effect. It's quite funny. I find it quite funny, mainly because of his mannerisms and the way he explains situations. It's quite funny. But he did one yesterday or 2 days ago about the stage in Dauphine and just basically spent 20 minutes ragging out Brian Smith, one of the GCN commentators, and somebody literally just was like calling him a knucklehead and just giving it to him.
Why is a knucklehead a bad thing? What's the
I think it's
origins
his
of a knucklehead?
catchphrase. I think it's Horner's catchphrase.
Oh, you knucklehead.
He does like a knucklehead of the day, like on his butterfly effect.
No one
so
says
he'd be like,
knucklehead.
And the knucklehead of the day was such and such. But he basically just like hammered on Brian Smith as a knucklehead for like 20 minutes over like this one comment he made about the tactics of why Luis Leon Sanchez was in the breakaway. He said like, he's in the breakaway. It gives Bahrain options for him to come back and help Jack Haig or Caruso if they attack.
Which is what he did.
And which was always a possibility of a tactic. It's quite a common tactic these days. And he was like, no, he's wrong. He's a knucklehead, and just fucking hammered about for like 20 minutes, bro. Like, just digs. Somebody on Twitter has retweeted it or something, and then Dan Lloyd from GCN commentaries stood up for his commentary team, and they just had like a little bit of a biffo on Twitter, which was quite interesting, entertaining.
But
to follow.
Horner's a commentator for MBSS or CBS.
I think so.
CBF,
Cartoon Network,
CBF.
NBC.
Well,
yeah, so that was good.
We only got one more show before the tour.
Yeah.
That's it.
I reckon we should do you guys agree that we should actually like go fucking hard for an actual good Tour de France preview? Like bring the stage maps up, dissect it, get Pogacar on,
I've
all these things.
I've got to read the road book at some
on.
stage.
Yeah, I think we need. It's time. It's time. It's a good
He's
call.
not coming on. He's not.
Good
He will
rider,
come
shit
on,
bloke.
bro. He will come on.
I reckon I could get him into a good ridership bloke shirt though.
Yeah.
He was on G and Rowy's potty.
Oh,
No.
what? Get him on, mate.
I'd rather
Give
go
us
on G and Rowy's potty than this potty though.
Give us a real boost. Maybe we could get some Biffo stories from the Pog. That'd go
We'll
viral.
do
I
it.
think everyone's too scared to fight him. You'd be a brave man to fight the Pog. Just
Oh yeah.
Just
But let's
for
do
it's like when you go to prison and you just got to go for the toughest, biggest dog in the pillow straight away. Some neo-pro just come up and go, right, you're the best rider in the world. Let's fucking go. You and me.
grab his handlebars.
Just go grab his handlebars.
Shank or be shanked.
I reckon though, because the time we do our next show it'll be a week before the tour starts, or it'll be 6 days or whatever, 5 days before the tour starts, and it'll be after Slovenia and Swiss also. So we'll have a real form guide to discuss the favourites based on
The
pre-mods
form
and
guide, though, I'm telling you
Vingegaard.
now, Dauphine. I've changed my ways here. Well, I don't know if I have, but my ways are. I'm on a different path because do you remember last year Vingegaard was actually not that good at the Dauphiné? He had that Achilles injury, and then by the last stage of Dauphiné, he was like second from the breakaway, and everyone went, "Yeah, okay, it's pretty good." And then the Tour, he was just unreal. So I feel like the Dauphiné is not the Tour guy. I remember when Nibali won the Tour in 2014, he got smoked in the Dauphiné, and then he won the Tour. So I just feel like.
You're just saying that because the Rog and vinegar killed it. You're going,
No, I'm just saying
don't
that.
read into
I'm
that.
just saying it because I was shit in the Dauphiné.
Oh, there you go. That's
I
fun.
wasn't that shit. I was just struggling. And then the last day I came good. I was like, I needed the first 7 days
So
to come good.
you're saying that you're the vinegar of this year's tour.
No, I'm just
Yeah,
saying
the same form line.
I'm
You
just
might run
saying-
second. You might be Pog Bennett 1-2.
Ugh.
No,
feel
I
like-
think that you're right. I think
I
it's
feel like the first
impossible.
2 days is going to deal with that.
It's impossible to compare. You can't compare apples with oranges. So like they're gonna like all the GC guys are spread across 3 different races, and all of varying difficulties and of differing fields. But I think once all 3 races have happened, Dauphiné, Swiss, Slovenia, we've at least got a point of discussion to start with.
Hey, how
I
good
like
was
it from
Stevie
there.
Williams yesterday? I haven't seen
Legend
it because for some
as
reason
well.
you cannot watch the Tour de Suisse. How the fuck do you watch Tour de Suisse?
VPN. You need a
Oh,
VPN.
what country you got to set it to?
England.
Heard it here first.
Well, he's been
That's how
crook.
I've been watching the cricket. I get some mileage out of my VPN, eh? I get a lot of mileage.
Me too.
But I like the fact that they don't all ride in the same lead-up events. It's all the big mystery coming into the tour. It's great. It's great theatre.
Mm.
It is. Speaking of big sporting events, let's just close it out quickly.
Australia
With,
playing in a World Cup qualifier. By the time this goes there, we'd know the result, but we need to beat Peru. That's
New
huge,
Zealand
mate.
tomorrow as well. New Zealand
Who are you
also.
playing?
Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Good game.
We lost to Peru
know.
last week in a warm-up. We play Costa Rica at the same time as you guys play Peru. Good luck.
You gonna
Also-
watch it?
Yeah, I'll try to watch it. It's in Dubai, I think. So that'll
Yeah.
probably be a good time.
2 hours.
Another thing, Jonesy, there's a great movie out on Netflix that you should watch. It's called Hustle. It's an Adam Sandler movie. I'm not a big fan of Adam Sandler, never have been. Although, of course, Happy Gilmore I love. But he plays a serious.
Adam Sandler just plays the same guy in every fucking movie.
No,
he
he's
is.
serious now. He's serious. It's drama.
So he doesn't
It's
do
drama.
the
It's not-
yo like all
No,
that
I
yeah.
fucking
shit.
hate that Adam Sandler. I fucking hate Adam Sandler.
Oh,
I hate
man,
Adam
he
Sandler as
cracked
much
me.
as I hate Toto Africa. But he's
What?
good in this new.
You hate Toto Africa.
I
do you
appreciate what
not
it
like
brings to a
Toto?
party. No, I appreciate what it brings to a party.
Speaking of song
Um,
lists, can I just sidetrack you both quickly? I know we've gone way over time. Should I
No, there's no-
have a
there's no
discussion
time
next
limit.
show? All right.
We had 5 minutes of shit at the start.
Okay, so recently we've been filling out an RSVP for one of our best mates' weddings, right? And it was, and it's a really good idea because we do the, RSVP and stuff. And one of the things is actually a little questionnaire. And one of the questions was, what song is 100% guaranteed to get you on the dance floor? And so I was actually filling it out for me and my partner. So I had two cracks at it. But you filled out the same questionnaire. What did you come up with?
I put in Little John Get Low. From the windows
No.
to the walls. To
Did
the sweat
you?
drip down my balls.
Oh, jeez. We maybe should have coordinated because I've gone 180 from you, and I think I went like Van Morrison, Brown Eyed Girl or something, And we're just gonna have this. I didn't go Van. I actually
I
went.
thought you would have
know what I
gone
went?
Lambada, the forbidden dance. In the early 90s. The Lambada. You remember?
No, I don't
before
remember
your time.
Lambada.
Yeah.
Do you know another
the
good one to
forbidden
get me on
dance.
the dance floor would be Sultans of Swing from Dire Straits. That'd get me up and going.
Really?
Oh, no, you should have put Ronan Keating. It's amazing how you...
I
That's
actually
a
went because I
classic.
know the people.
You'll
that
be
are going
singing
to
it,
the,
yeah.
I went horses. I went horses
yeah.
from and a couple of Kiwis for the home crowd. But interesting that you went like a DMX or whatever. Who
Well,
was
I did it. I did it mainly as a
Lil
joke.
Wayne.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I feel like
it
a
was
lot
quite
of us have
funny
put
and-
ironic. A lot of us have put ironic songs in, and we're going to end up with a very ironic playlist.
Should
But
be
at the
kung
same
fu
time,
fighting
like-
with the front
like-
kicks.
I've seen this at
Ho, ho, ho.
weddings before. I've seen this at weddings before, where they ask for this, and then you go there, and then a song comes on, and there's 150 people at the wedding. Go, oh, that's my one. It's not. It's fucking Toto Africa. It comes on at every fucking party, and I'm sick of it. You know?
Why do you hate Toto Africa?
Oh, it's just a shit song. It's fucking woeful. Like I love what it brings to a party, and I'll be like, oh yeah, we're down in Africa with the rest of us once I've had 2 bottles of wine. But like at the end of the day, if it came on now at a cafe, I'd be like, this fucking shit. This is shit. This song. It's a shit song.
You know who you're turning
It is a
into?
bit shit.
You're turning into the Big Lebowski. You know when he sits in the back of the car and he goes, "Hey man, I don't like the fucking Eagles," and the guy just grabs it, kicks him out. You turned him with that bloke. He listening to Credence, like and start banging the roof like. That's you, Jules. You've almost got the Big Lebowski beard.
Yeah.
I'm going around and piss
yeah,
on his
it's been a-
rug.
It's been a rough weekend indoors. Do you know what a good song is though? All the Way to the River by John Hyatt. That's a good song.
Yeah.
Um,
All right, well,
all
go
right,
pour yourself
players
out
anyway,
while Russian.
Jonesy, just let me finish quickly. You should watch this movie Hustle because it's an Adam Sandler movie. It's gritty, it's a drama, and he's an NBA scout, and it's a great movie. You'll enjoy it because he's an NBA scout. And on the back of that, good luck to your team who's 2-2 against the Golden State Warriors at the moment. In the
Celtics.
finals. Celtics.
Yeah, mate. And another good movie, if you haven't seen it, Top Gun 2, Maverick. Awesome.
Heard it's
You
awesome.
seen it?
No, but I'm going
Well, I need to go back and watch the first Top Gun before I go into Maverick.
Oh, you haven't even seen Top Gun 1?
Nah.
Oh,
You come up with a call sign yet?
Oh my god.
Need for
You haven't seen
Speed.
Back to the Future. You haven't seen Top Gun.
That's just
It's
Haven't
fucking
I?
on this show.
All right, well,
It's
we
in
end
the
the
show.
show on a real stinker.
Oh,
Go to
yeah.
manscaped.com. Use STP
Oh, yeah, the ad.
20% off and free shipping. Like, share, subscribe.
Ah.